How you guys doing again? Here of none. How you guys all doing? Now, how you guys doing? We had a few videos out there. I want to say a few weeks ago regarding bugs and exploits and all that good stuff. There, some of you came back with saying, you know, I don't believe in what you say. Blah blah blah. I downvoted. Other people said, oh yes, yes, I agree totally with it, etc. Since then, we have had other issues come up, other things that Zoss has said, other things that Zoss has not said, etc. Alright, so this is kind of a video between Zoss and the players, and trying to get a treaty between the two of them. Alright? I'm going to try avoiding profanity in this. I apologize if I do. That way we keep this up on the forums, and you guys can give me some opinions about it thereof. Now, first and foremost, exploits. Don't do them. Okay? There's really no reason for you to be using it. Is it as bad as a cheat or cheat engine? Something you have to download third party? I don't know. You could argue it one way or another, but at least you know at this point if you're using it, you're going to get in trouble, and you possibly will get banned for doing it. Okay? So ultimately, don't use exploits. Okay? Just don't argue it. Don't go gap closing into your friend's keep because you thought that, hey, if it's broken, Zoss should fix it. That's not going to be the excuse that they accept at this point, okay? Just don't use exploits. Now, if you want to argue about the use of exploits, go to the forums and do so. I'm not precluding you from doing that. If you want to say, well, this is kind of stupid, I don't feel like this should be an exploit, well, that's why you have a civil discussion about it. But in the meantime, if they say it's an exploit, don't use it, okay? Now, let's come back a little bit from that and go to talk to Zoss first. Okay, now Zoss, I've heard some reports that people that have only been using an exploit once have been permanently banned and not being given the chance for an appeal. If that is true, somebody has never had a record on their had never had a record, okay, and they went ahead and used Werewolf and went into Spindle Clutch to do a DPS test against the Blood Fiend. Okay, or went off and killed a bunch of mud crabs, or even went into PvP, killed a few people, and then logged off and left. Okay, if their impact was minor, okay, I really feel that you should give them a chance to come back in. That's differing from a few other people there as well. I don't disagree with giving them a ban, giving them administrative action, but giving them a permanent ban for an exploit when it has low impact doesn't make sense to me. If it was somebody who got Emperorship because of it, it was somebody who's ran Maelstrom Arena 50 times using that, just to get all their achievements and all their weapons, fine. That person probably deserves a permanent ban and should not be allowed back into the system, okay? I'm not precluding you from doing that whatsoever. But somebody who's only doing it in a minor sense, had limited impact, I don't believe that should... I don't think that person deserves a permanent ban in those cases there. I did like it before when we had people who would break the rules but have a chance after 3, 7, a month of a suspension coming back in and doing it. Now, some people dislike that because they feel that if you cheat at least once, you should just be gone entirely. But I like to believe that there is at least some good that people can come back in to the game after they realize, I gotta come back in. Apologies for the swear, but again, we're just trying to give some gravitas to the situation here, okay? Now, this comes into another thing that I'd like to discuss. You've heard me on the forums discussing this, you heard me in the stream and other things like that. The naming and shaming policy. I really wish you that we would come back, review it, and see what we can do about it. It is causing a major thorn in the side of some of us here who are trying to make the game better and can't simply because there's too much misinformation going on right now. If somebody cheats or exploits or something else like that and we report them, we don't know what happens to them afterward. We don't know if what we reported was actually a bug, actually an exploit, or what it was, okay? I reported 2 incidents recently, okay? One was chaining off of walls, and another was involving a possible bug going in with javelins, Templar javelins. the chaining out the walls, you responded back to me because you said, well, okay, we saw what you did there. We saw, you gave me feedback saying that this is not a bug, and that was a good response. That is what we needed to know, because that therefore told me, okay, I can do this, I can show other people how to do this, etc. The javelins came back as, well, we're investigating it, we'll let you know we can come to a conclusion. And then the response back was, well, we're not going to give you a response back because you reported it as a player doing it. We'll let you know if it's a bug or not at the next patch notes. That's an issue. And the reason why it's an issue is because until those patch notes comes out, I can go in, I can take my Templar into PvP, start doing it, and then telling everyone else, hey, you should be doing it too. I'm a streamer. People are going to copy some of the stuff they see here on the stream. Right? And because I did that, I risk myself getting banned. The other people who watch me risk getting banned. It's just not right at that point. Because what did these people do wrong that they deserve the ban? Right? We didn't have any information that it was a bug that we were exploiting. We could have thought this was intended mechanics. Okay? So if it comes down to something where we're asking you for if it's a bug or not, and you're going to tell us that we're going to get banned for using the bug, we got to know if it's a bug or not, right? You got to know, am I going to get banned for using this? That is part of the agreement between this. If you get banned for using bugs, okay, and you don't tell us what the bugs are, it's like, do I know if this is going to get me banned or not? Do I know if this is going to get me, everyone else who's viewing this, going to get banned or not? I don't know. That's wrong in so many levels, okay? We got to be clear and concise what you consider a bug is. That way, if you come back with administrative action on it, it's clear on what we did wrong. That is key, okay? And in addition to that, naming and shaming in other instances has caused huge issues with like people that just keep on being toxic, feeling like they can do anything they want because they know they can't get caught or they can't get reported without having somebody else get in trouble for it, and nobody else has to know unless it's through rumors. Again, if naming and shaming isn't a bad policy when we're talking about accusations, okay? Somebody can come into my stream at any point in time, say they don't like me, and then accuse me of hacking. And they can spread it on the forums there, and by the court of public opinion, I can be guilty just like that, and they can just be like, ha ha ha, and they got away with it just because, even though there's no merit to their accusation, they just went ahead and put it out there. But on the other end, if somebody is dead to rights wrong, and you catch them, and you have conclusive evidence this person did it, and you actually take administrative action to it, and they're let back into the game, that's an issue as well, okay? Now, remember, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have bans 3 days, 7 days, month-long suspensions for people, okay? But it's important to let people know when people are banned, because if they got banned because of a bug, exploit, or something else like that, that should be knowledge to us that this person did this type of exploit, okay? These people went in and, used this cheat, they used this bug, and when they did that, they broke the trust of the rest of us, okay? And having that knowledge out there lets us know that, one, this is a bug, they shouldn't be using it. Two, this person has cheated and should not be trusted inside the game if you see them again. If you feel like, if somebody came in at some point, used a bug, got banned for a week or two, and then next week I see him in again because I don't do PvP every single day to see this guy is gone, I could just assume that, well, was that a bug last week or was it not? Well, maybe I should try it too because he's not banned. Maybe I can do it, right? So that leads to confusion, misunderstandings between that, and then again, it promotes something that you don't want to have, which is people using bugs, exploits, and all this other stuff in here without really much knowledge on what happened, okay? Now, if we can't come to an agreement on naming and shaming, if you can't revise it, let me offer an alternative, okay? Because I'm all about alternatives and every compromises and, you know, finding a way that works for everyone to get along here. And one of the suggestions I have is a public apology for anyone that you either permanently ban or suspend for a while. And the reason that they could give a public apology is to come back and get a reduction on their sentence. The idea with this is that you're not naming and shaming, they're doing it to themselves. All right? They're saying what they did, who they are, that they understand that it's wrong, and giving a sincere apology and saying that if I do this again, I accept the fact that I'm going to be permanently banned and not going to be allowed back in the game. Okay? This gives people an avenue to come back in, gives a chance for people to know that you guys are doing your job, lets us know that this person cheated, and lets us take a little more crucial look at them. So if they do come back and cheat again, I'll recognize that name and be like, that's that player A. I know that he was cheating before. Something funky is going on when I'm fighting him in PvP. Maybe I should report it. Maybe I should have people take a look at this and find out if they're doing something they shouldn't. Meanwhile, though, if we don't start looking at that, there's going to be it's already happened. We already have apathy inside PvP. We already have people being like, well, what's the point of reporting anyone? They never do anything. I know you guys do stuff. I know you guys act on these things because I hear about people banned and people not allowed back into the game, and I do applaud a lot of that stuff. And some of the people that you have, like some of the people that have reportedly gotten banned, etc., have been people that have been like toxic, you know, caustic to the community. They don't get along with anyone, teabag people all the time and send them hate tells, and then they complain, well, I can't get back in, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, why did Zoss ban me for their first offense? Yet you know that they've been a problem person since the beginning. Yeah, I have no qualms about losing some of those players whatsoever, but some of the other players I've been hearing about, maybe we might need to revise some of the look at what we're doing. Now, probably just why I get a drink here and get my throat better. Now, back to the community. All right, so a lot of you are blaming Zoss for some of this stuff here, but I don't blame Zoss for any of this here. I'm asking them to revise some of this stuff here as an attempt to get them to change stuff, but honestly, they don't have a reason to listen to me except for the fact that some of you guys listen to me. And that goes back to where does some of this start from? This wasn't Zoss's decision so much as it was our reaction. You take a look back at what happened with the cheat engine when it first came in. Like, typically Zoss will make sure that anyone that cheats gets banned, and if any exploits come out there, they'll say, okay, don't use this, and then keep quiet about it. And a lot of people don't like that policy, but part of the reason they have that policy is because it's a lot easier to tell people, don't use this, don't use that, to the few individuals that find it, and not alert the community about it. Because as soon as it gets out there and it's known, that one or two people that might have known about it is now 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people that know about it. Okay? So one of the reasons they don't come out and say, like, oh, the salvation set is bugged, you should not use it, is because if only one or two people know about it, okay, they can talk to those one or two people and say, don't use it. Come back and they say, okay, we got a fix for it. It's going to come up next Monday. Okay, we'll get it done then. In the meantime, just make sure nobody goes overboard on it, right? Well, people went overboard on it, and now Zoss has to come back and say, okay, guys, it's out. The cat's out of the bag. Don't use it. We know it's a bug. Just ignore it for right now, and we'll get it fixed Monday. And they already have plans to get that done. So, if they were working with the same budget and the same staffing that they did back at launch, I'm sure they would get a much, I'm sure it would get acted upon much quicker than what it is now. But with the current things, with the buy to play, with the way that the development cycle works, if you've never worked in programming, you know that things take time to get fixed and all this other stuff there. I wish that it would be quicker as well, but I gotta accept that there's some things that can't immediately snap their fingers and have it magically fixed on live. Okay? Now, after we had all these things here, Part of the other reason for that is the reaction that we had to the cheaters. Okay, if we had a few people come in, cheat, everyone saw that they were cheating, and then immediately asked ZOS to start banning these people. ZOS, from what I could see in their previous iteration of the previous policies, was more apt to ban people several times and then give a permanent ban only once those initial bans would have issues, okay? And it was much like, you'd take a speeding ticket, right? Or speeding, for example. You speed down this road once, you get a ticket. You speed down twice, you get a ticket. Speed down 3 times, they might suspend your license. That's typically how it would work. It wouldn't matter so much that they were speeding, speeding and shifting back and forth there, or if they're going 90 or they're going 80 miles an hour. It would factor into how much longer, how big the fine is, but nothing that major, okay? But now it seems that we might have switched over into a zero tolerance policy per the request of the players. A lot of people were calling for permanent bans on these people that were using cheats and such. And the problem is that once you start requesting the permanent bans on the cheats, that also means the permanent bans may apply to the exploits because they have a very similar effect as the cheats. If you go too far with some of the exploits there, it could be just like a cheat engine. You could have, 2,000 plus weapon damage inside of PvP using the Salvation set while in werewolf form. Okay, that could have a major impact if used. Gap closings by an emperor. Oop. I've been talking so long here, my freaking screen goes out. But gap closing by an emperor into the keep can have a major impact onto the whole PvP scene. Okay, so that's kind of why they took that stance, and that's kind of why I'm telling people to rein it back a little bit. Like, yes, we should have a clear set. We should have clear set rules that say, like, cheaters get permanently banned. Maybe you can come back in if it was like only a benign cheat and you come back with a public apology at the very least on some of that there. But exploits, I mean, you can do it readily on your PC. Should it be fixed? Yes. Is ZOS responsible for it? Yes. However, you're responsible not for taking advantage of it, okay? Now, if you're wondering, is it a cheat? Is it something that I should not be doing? Ask yourself the following questions. Is it something that I can do that gives me a readily available advantage over other players that they can't do? And ask if it's part of the mechanics of the game. If the answer is yes and no to that, then you have an issue. Because again, if it's something you can get an advantage over other players, and it's something that's not, and it's definitely not meant to be in the mechanics of the game, then you have issues. If you have gray area in there, you're not sure if it's meant to be a mechanics in the game, then ask, okay? And now I'm going to flip it back over to ZOS again. And that is, we've got to get more open-eyed communication about what is an exploit and how to identify cheats and exploits as well. All right? If we're going to be honest about it, let's get something out there where it says, if I ask if this is an exploit, we can get some immediate response on it. Somebody has to have a list of what's exploits, what's not exploits, okay? Second to that, maybe you want to consider an amnesty week. Something where all the PvPers come out and say, okay, here's the bag of tricks I've been using for the past year and things that are broken with your game. Please don't ban me. Here they are. Please fix them. All right? A lot of people will be pissed off about that, but honestly, we need to get a handle around some of these things here, and eventually they will be discovered, but if we can get it discovered now, it's going to benefit the game and the rest of us that much more when especially like dueling comes out and all these other things, battlegrounds and all these other things come out along with it, okay? So let's try rounding up all these exploits. Give these people amnesty, please, to come back and say it. Like, I don't want to have somebody come in, say, oh yeah, by the way, there's this exploit that I have been using and some of the other guys I know have been using, and have that entire group banned. Because that's just going to make them come back and say, well, I'm not going to give them any information now. Right? Because they're going to be concerned, like, if I give my information, does that mean my friends are going to get banned? Am I going to get banned because of it? Okay, so just consider giving an amnesty week to these people who come in and say, okay, I got an exploit, I'm not really too proud of it, but here it is. You know, we won't use it anymore, but please fix it. A lot of people are using it. We don't want to be using it, but honestly, the reason we're using it is because everyone else in the game is using it, okay? If we can get some understanding in there, maybe we can get rid of some of these. The other thing with that is I would give certain streamers, Fengrush, Deltia, whoever else you want to give it to. I wouldn't recommend myself because I'm probably not technically verbose in the ways of PvP to know some of this stuff, but give some players the ability to go in and use cheat engine and some other things there to either show or disprove some cheats. Okay? Like, give and make it so it's PTS, it's not live, unless there's something specifically that needs to be addressed on live. But the idea with this is that you have a victim's role that could be streamed and showing, like, okay, how did this guy kill me in 5 seconds here? Was it an exploit? Was it a cheat? Was it something else? You know, here's what it looks like if you use cheat engine with speed hack with 1.25. And notice how it's exactly the same damage output with the exact same setup here, you know, based on this stuff here and this stuff here. Okay, that is a way that you can go ahead and engage the community on this, get them aware of what it looks like when they see cheats and when they see exploits, and get knowledge to the players on what to report to you. So if somebody is using these cheats, but you know no one reports it, you're never going to catch these guys to get rid of them. And I do want to get rid of anyone who's using, you know, these shady cheats here or there in trying to, you know, one-up everyone in the community because they can't actually do it themselves, or they just gotten too goddamn lazy for doing anything on their own. Alright? And if we can get an agreement to give these people this access to this, I think you're going to see the PvP increase, or sorry, the PvP improve. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of the lag going away, because I've noticed after we had the whole debacle with the cheat engine thing, and people, you know, you change some of the requirements on some of this too, the lag suddenly decreases. I don't know if that's because of the patching you're doing, or because some of the stuff the cheat engine was doing was actually lagging down the servers. I seriously suspect it was, but no one really wants to say anything about that and get into that, but you guys can hear my suspicions. I'm suspecting some of you out there suspect the same thing as me. But anyways, guys, this is just a quick update to that video. Hopefully you can have a discussion on this. I really feel that we're like in an impasse right now. We've identified that there is a lot of cheating going on in PvP. We banned a whole lot of people that were doing the cheating. We've gone maybe a little bit overboard in the cheating. We kind of got to reel it back. We've got to open up communication again. We got to discuss on what are exploits, what are not exploits, and get some testing in there, get some explanations, get some examples so people know, you know, you get hit by this cheat, this is what it looks like. You don't get hit by this cheat, that's what this will look like, okay? Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. This is Hero of None. Hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe we can have some discussion other than about bitching about each other about who's doing what and what teabags, or why are you teabagging me when you didn't even have a person to fight me, or some Zergs are killing me, or why are you tire farming, or blah 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 blah. Salt, salt, salt. Anyways. Meow, meow, meow.